I was in a fitting room, fruitlessly trying to fit a tight shirt on, when I got a phone call. I switched the speaker on, still trying to fasten the damn buttons. And the voice in the phone offered me to model for a cool underwear shop. It was a dream of a lifetime, sure I agree. And when the photographer announced the payment, I felt dizzy. Thank goodness at this moment a consultant entered. She informed the shirt was not available in my breast size. What do you mean? Do you only have clothes for such flatboards as yourself? I stopped immediately, but the girl whispered her boyfriend used to call her this, and they'd split up the day before. Damn! I opened my mouth, but the consultant had burst into tears and run away already. Anyway, I had nothing to do with hysterical girls. Tomorrow, my life would change. My big boobs will earn me a fortune, and all the boutiques will queue hoping I'd agree to pose for a single pic in their bras. I even went to bed earlier so that I'd look 100%, but I couldn't fall asleep because of my worries. So the alarm clock seemed the worst sound in the world to me. I reached out to switch it off, but suddenly felt acute pain in my breasts. I even cried. What was that? Did I end up catching a cold right before such an important day? I touched the painful spot and at first couldn't believe it. My breast disappeared. I looked under my shirt and cried in horror. Instead of my splendid boobs, I saw fresh sutures. What the... Could it be someone had cut my boobs off? I nearly fainted. What to do? What about the photo shoot? I must postpone it immediately until I figure everything out. I dialed the photographer's number with trembling hands and asked to move the photo shoot, but he was surprised and just said that at night I'd already texted him, asking to cancel everything. He'd found another big-boobed model already. What? That's impossible! I was brought down. I'd opened my text log and froze. Everything was exactly the same he'd said it was. How could that even happen? Why didn't I feel anything? Was I put to sleep? I started to recall frantically what happened the day before. After the shop, I met my school friend Brooke, and surely I'd told her about the photo shoot and... Brooke, of course! She's training as a surgeon! How haven't I guessed before? She's always been jealous because of my great boobs and dreamt to have the same. She'd eaten tons of cabbage, but her slack pouches just wouldn't fill up. I dealt her number immediately. Brooke, what have you done to me? For what? She played the fool, pretending she didn't understand. Moreover, she pretended not to recognize me. What do you mean, who am I? I'm Brittany, and this night you've taken my biggest value, but I'll take revenge. I'll put you behind bars. Short beeps. Brooke hung up. Well, no, you wouldn't escape that easily. I raced to her despite my wounds bleeding and aching. I banged on the door until Brooke came out. I attacked her in sight, crying and accusing her, threatening her. I was overwhelmed by rage, but she only kept on repeating, "Who are you? I don't know you." Suddenly, police came out of nowhere, and Brooke started shouting I was crazy, broke into her home and threatened her. The policeman even didn't give me a chance to speak and reached for the cuffs. Nothing was left to me but to show my scars. I unbuttoned my shirt and showed the bleeding remains of what once was my gorgeous breasts. Here, look! She did this because she was envious all the time. I broke into tears. Everyone was shocked by what they'd seen, but then Brooke said, "But I truly don't know who you are." I couldn't take that. Come on! We'd shared a desk all years at school. You deceitful flatboard! Shall I show you our graduation album? Asked the policeman. Brooke immediately brought the album out in cold blood. I grabbed it and opened the last page. Here, look, Sergeant. This is Mrs. Maisel, our form master. Here's the slaughterer as flat as Kansas called Brooke and... What? That can't be! Some random girl took my place. Who is that? Rachel, my best friend, Brooke replied in an icy tone. The policeman grabbed my hand and took the cuffs, but I beat him as badly as I could and rushed away. I barely could see because tears were blurring my vision. For what? I never did bad to anyone. And then I saw the shop I tried the shirt on yesterday. I felt like stricken with the lightning. I recalled the consultant incident. I needed to go to this shop. I ran inside but could not find the consultant. I checked all the departments, but all in vain. She must have a day off. I headed to the entrance, feeling broken-hearted, and bumped into someone. That was her! I looked down and couldn't believe my eyes. She had enormous boobs. I had no time to understand a thing and just grabbed those curves. Her breasts were exactly like mine. My vision failed me. I staggered, but the girl whose badge said Carol caught me. She whispered with an angry face, "Yes, yes, now they're mine. Now I am you. The photo shoot made me famous, and I came to quit. Now I have a bright future, and you remain flatter than earth. Feel what I felt all my life. How did you call me and my cousin Brooke? As flat as Kansas. Now try my skin." By the way, did you like our Photoshop? Carol laughed viciously, and I froze in fear. I couldn't move. I felt dizzy. Suddenly I heard a distant noise. It approached and grew louder and louder. I opened my eyes and saw an alarm clock. I felt chest pain and cold ran down my spine. I touched my breast and... what's that? My posh boobs are in place! My boobs alive, real and bouncy! The phone suddenly rang. I answered doubtfully. The photographer asked if the deal was valid. I lingered and glanced at the mirror to make sure my breasts were in place. "Yeah, sure, I'll be on time." I put the phone aside. Was that all a dream? So real. And it seemed my boobs were aching a little bit. Going to the photo shoot, I dropped by the shop. The consultant was hanging close, and she didn't have any boobs again. I came closer and apologized. "Please, Carol, don't be mad. I was a complete idiot yesterday." She watched perplexedly, but thanked me under her breath. Now we are friends, Carol, Brooke, and I. And they've laughed their heads off when I told them about my dream.
I was ready to go under the knife, just to stop these eternal bullying. Did I deserve this? After all, everything was fine last year. With trembling hands, I was surfing the websites of various clinics, looking at pictures of mutilated bodies. If only it would all be over soon. But then I clicked on the following link, and what turned out to be there made my heart sink. What the hell is that? None of my blouses wanted to be buttoned in anyway. Did my breast really grow so much over the summer? I needed to be at school in half an hour. We had a consultation before the new academic year about the future profession, and they wouldn't let me in there with a stretched t-shirt. I started rummaging through my mom's closet, but even her blouses were too small for me in the chest area. I was about to burst into tears, but then I caught sight of some kind of lame purple hoodie. I think my mom wore it when she was pregnant with me. It looked terrible. There was no time left. I quickly put it on and rushed to school. Evan, my boyfriend, was already waiting for me in the yard. We hadn't seen each other for a couple of months because of the holidays. He squinted at me blankly, but politely kept me silent. I was on the verge of hysteria. Yes, I looked such a mess. I yelled, "But what can I do? My boobs grew over the summer. Now they are just huge." "Wow," said Evan with an interested smile. "Are you a fool or what?" I wanted to answer him, but then we were called. I had to sit at the last desk and hide behind some books for the whole consultation. After that, Evan was waiting for me in the yard again. What else? But he only gently apologized and said that he would like to invite me to go to the coast with him this weekend. I clearly needed to chill out and spend the last days of the holidays with benefit. I agreed. After all, I have a great boyfriend. But the very next day, I regretted it. To go to the coast when my boobs don't fit into any swimsuit. I was still in the same mom's hoodie running around shopping malls. But in vain. I looked either like an inept porn star or like a sack of potatoes in all swimsuits the consultants offered me. hey, who dreamed of huge boobs? I can share. Apparently I had enough for 3. In a terrible mood, I was trudging through the mall, but then they announced that it was closing in 20 minutes. Heck, what should I do? I ran into the last shop in the hope of at least finding something suitable there, but when I tried on the next swimsuit, looking more like a sausage costume, even the sellers couldn't hold back their giggles. That's it. I've had enough. I asked to pack me something that at least fit, to which the consultant gave me a surprised look. Have you ever been dissuaded from buying by the seller? There you go. I came home absolutely broken. I was so looking forward to the weekend to distract myself. I didn't know then that another disappointment was waiting for me. A couple of days later, Evan and I went to the coast. At first, everything was fine. A real paradise. But the calm did not last long. Or rather, exactly until the moment I took off my beach dress. As soon as Evan saw me in the swimsuit, he laughed so hard the whole beach hurt him. I didn't know where to look. That's it. I've had enough. Choking with resentment, I ran to the bus stop. Evan tried to catch up with me, but every now and then, he burst out laughing again. They're dangling so funny when you run. He persisted. Jerk. I returned home in a disgusting mood. Now I had to suffer with these boobs all my life. It couldn't go on like this. All night, I googled the places in our town where you can buy at least something cute for girls with big boobs, but found nothing. Damn, but how do others get out of a mess? I might as well sew everything myself. Stop, and this is an idea. I quickly googled sewing courses, but the search gave me something more interesting. It turned out that we had a real design college. I immediately got the idea to transfer there. In the morning, I already sent an application and I got accepted. I was already halfway to my dream. The first couple of weeks in college went just fine. But one of the teachers constantly annoyed me, and he taught us the basic discipline. He failed me on the first test. What the hell? I completed all the tasks. I went up to him to figure out what was wrong, but he just looked at me thoughtfully. Well, he continued, I see you have big problems. 2 very big problems. What do you think you're doing? This is a real shaming. I wanted to howl in frustration. Why did my life change so much because of these boobs? Now I was like a scarecrow with 2 balloons. In desperation, I returned home and started Googling breast reduction surgeries. I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't know where to get such a sum, but I firmly decided that I would do it. However, suddenly, I came across an article. A girl from a neighboring town died from complications after such a surgery. Wow, a chill ran down my spine. I got my head turned around. I couldn't believe that 5 minutes ago, I was ready to go under the knife. This was some kind of idiocy. An idea came to me. I immediately reached for a notebook with a pencil. By morning, I already had sketches ready for a new capsule. Let everyone see that we are beautiful and not boogie women with the wrong proportions. Soon there would be a competition of young designers at the college, and this was my chance. In the afternoon, I was already hanging ads in the hall to the laughter of my classmates that I was looking for models. The main requirement was boobs no less than E-cup size. Several hours passed but no one responded. After classes, I was heading to the bus stop, wondering where to find models. Suddenly, someone called out to me. I turned around hesitantly. There were several girls standing in front of me, and each of them had huge boobs. Well, one had boobs even bigger than mine. Wow, I've never seen anything like it. The girls came up to me and said they wanted to help me. I broke into a smile. It seems that we should succeed, but it wasn't that simple. The very next day, a rumor spread through the college that we had a milk team. That's what everyone called us now. During the break, the girls and I went to have lunch in the cafeteria. Everything was fine, but then a few boys approached us. A bad feeling stirred inside me. The tallest of them came up to our table and put several bags of milk on it. Here they said, "This is yours. he blurted out calmly and started laughing like an idiot. I immediately blushed. Something had to be done. I looked at our tray. Oh right, I took a couple of eggs and just as calmly handed them to the perplexed guy. Thank you, and they asked you to return this, I said. There was a moment of silence in the cafeteria. But then everyone started laughing and someone even applauded. Dude, it was a cringe. But the girl is good, I heard from behind. The boys blushed and quickly left. I was elated. After this incident, more attention was paid to us in college. Some asked what we were up to. You'll see soon. And now our capsule collection was ready. The girls and I gathered in the assembly hall to rehearse everything. But even here there was a catch waiting for us. It turned out that Mary absolutely did not know how to walk in heels. Who are these two balloons on stilts? A passing janitor only aggravated the situation. Wait, why torture yourself? After all, the essence of our collection was to show that we were already beautiful. Mary, you're going to be walking in sneakers. Everything will work out. And then came an X day. Overcoming my excitement, I went on stage and said that I dedicate my collection to the girl who died from complications after surgery, and to everyone whose curves differed from the generally accepted ones. My models performed just fine. And most of all, the audience liked Mary in sneakers. I knew, and now I was already standing among the winners and holding a diploma in my hands. We took second prize. This was just an unthinkable result for a first-year student. Suddenly I noticed that a man was approaching me. This is the biggest sponsor in our city. They whispered in the hall. The man introduced himself and handed me a contract for cooperation. Of course, I didn't even think twice about it. But only if I work together with the girls. Today we have proved that it is possible to benefit from every seemingly shortcoming. And let at least someone dare to doubt it now. Did you like the video? Subscribe and like it. Support the channel. Thank you!